We lift up those that have lost loved ones recently, and we ask for you to just surround them with peace and comfort and strength, Lord. We know a number of them have been given service to Levy County and students, and just all that we lift those families up. As we deliberate tonight, we always ask that you give us wisdom and guidance, that we make the best decisions as these decisions affect our students and our staff. And once again, Lord, we thank you for the blessing of living in Levy County. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You'll address the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we need to do any changes to the agenda? Yes, ma'am.
We're going to delete H1. We're going to take that off because we don't know what those.
H1?
Under consent.
Okay.
Under
J1.
No problem.
J1, H1.
You got it. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as changed.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on in. At this time, we'll welcome any visitors and any public comment at this time. Did we receive any emails, or do we have anyone here that wants to address the board?
No, sir.
Thank you. We'll step right on in. I would like to call my friend from the Newberry, Tina Pinkerson, up for a special presentation. You didn't jingle like you usually do. Are you okay?
Hi, I'm Tina Pinkerson. I am the Director of Leadership Services for the Florida School Boards Association. And your board and superintendent are members there and are very involved, and we so appreciate that. But during COVID, we had to have our summer conference. No, it was our December conference. Time flies when you're staying at home all the time. Our December conference online. And in order to make it a little bit more appealing to everybody, there was a part of the platform enabled us to have some contests. And one of the contests, it had to do with being on the computer, going to our sponsors. What do you call those things?
Downloading everything.
Downloading things from the sponsors. You got points for doing all of that. And all of a sudden, you looked at the leaderboard and there was Tammy Boyle. And then right behind her was somebody from Lee County. And there were about 4 or 5 of them who really went after it. And we were at a conference a couple months after Tammy won. And I said something to Tammy, and the girl in front of her said, "Oh, you're Tammy Boyle, the girl that beat me." And I mean, so it got really competitive. But she took the bull by the horns, went after it, and we offered $1,000 scholarship to the winner. And Tammy has taken that, and I guess you came up with an application process. You want to explain what you did?
Sure. I took a look at some of the scholarships that we give our students and kind of combined a couple. I didn't want it to be real difficult, just a big need. Wanted the majority of it to be a big need for that student and the student, of course, that was going on to college. There were 5 applicants, and I took myself out of the equation. Once they were handed in, there was a deadline, and they had to write a little paragraph and list some things. Found some teachers that were not biased and had them review everything, told them the stipulations, and Skylar Worth, who is with Mrs. Lawrence from Cedar Key School, she was chosen for the scholarship. Skylar, congratulations, well deserved.
I talked to Skylar. She's going to be coming to Gainesville, but I live in Newberry now, so now, here, can you get a picture with Ina, please?
Yes.
Violent. She's going to be going to dental. She's going to be a dental hygienist. She wants to be a dental hygienist. And so this is going to help her do that. And so we're just thrilled, and good luck to you. And watch out for Tammy Boyle because she's a competitive wonder student. So thank you for allowing us
Thanks
to
for
be
coming
here.
tonight.
Skylar, while we have you. Did you participate in anything last Friday? Salt? No? Okay. Well, we appreciate you being here, so I don't know if you guys want to slide out and make your way out, so, or do you want to stay?
I'll take their cue. But I will see y'all the 19th.
Right.
Skylar, are you Brian's daughter?
My email, are they okay with that? Thank you.
Skylar, good job.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll now move on to, we have a very distinguished guest and graduate of Bronson High School, chairman of the county commission, and more importantly, my dear friend John Meeks here to make a special presentation tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You have your copy?
I have my copy. So my copy might be a little bit different than y'all's copy because of the way the language had to be adopted by the two boards, but I think it's close enough that we'll get through legal without having to do too many backflips. So, this idea was brought about by some teachers, some staff members. I immediately reached out to my dear friend and neighbor, Cameron Asbell, knowing he was the school board superintendent, or school board.
No,
chairman.
I'm not.
School board chairman. Well, I let that slip. And I said, we need to get on board with this. And so, what I have for you today is a proclamation. It's a proclamation in my book, 2021-051. Is that the same for y'all?
That's what we have there. We'll have to look at it.
It is a proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Levy County, Florida, and the Levy County School Board recognizing May 3rd through 7th, 2021 as Teacher Appreciation Week. And I will read this into the record if that is acceptable to y'all. Thank you. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners, the county, and the Levy County School Board, the school board, through their dedicated efforts to ensure our children learn the knowledge and skills needed to be successful in college, careers, and in life, Levy County teachers are vital in their communities and building the future. And whereas, because of the increasing diversity of students, teachers must be constantly learning so that they adapt to meet the ever-changing needs of young people in our schools. And whereas teachers play a critical role in shaping our children into the people they will become, supporting them through their youth and teaching lessons that have an impact that they will carry through life. And whereas the teaching profession benefits from educators who are empowered to lead within and beyond the classroom, allowing them to best prepare young people to become contributing members of our community, thereby strengthening our democracy. And whereas there are hundreds of dedicated educators working in Levy County public schools, putting in countless hours and extra effort to help students achieve, preparing them for further education, the workforce, and of course, their civic duties. Now, therefore, be proclaimed by the school board of Levy County, Florida, that the week of May 3rd through 7th shall be known in Levy County as Teacher Appreciation Week, duly passed and ratified on this 11th day of May, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks.
I just would like to add thank you to all of our educators and our staff. 2020 was a wild year, to say the least, and 2021 has gotten off to a not so promising start. So I hope that we can work through it and get through it together. And thank y'all for allowing me to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will entertain a motion to accept this, to adopt this proclamation.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any questions, any comments?
I just wanted to make a comment that I appreciate the county commission taking the time along with everybody to put it together. I mean, it's as a formal proclamation. You look at it between what the county does, the board of county commissioners and the school board, the amount of people that it employs, but the heartbeat of our county. And we always say, but our communities are surrounded by what our schools do. And the schools are what the teachers make it be. So I appreciate you taking the time and thinking, help put it together.
Anything else? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Meeks.
It's an honor.
You're more than welcome to stay, or you can.
I want to see how, the good side of town runs government over here.
All right, well, you are gonna be duly impressed by the next thing. We have some folks here from Joyce Bullock Elementary School coming in from Williston, coming to Bronson, to make a special school presentation. And I will ask these nice folks to come up now.
We'll turn it over to our principal, Miss Hillary Cruz.
How are you there, Mrs.
She
Chris?
can introduce her staff here with her.
Yes.
Come on up.
Yes. I'm only good. Just a little bit. So I brought with me tonight Diane Dudek, Jennifer Martin, and Christina Keene. They represent what we refer to on our campus as our alt. We even abbreviated it, even probably gets shorter than that, but our alternate core teachers. And Diane serves kindergarten. Jennifer serves first grade, and Christina actually this year is serving first and second grade, just based on our needs. And so we're going to kind of explain a little bit about what that is, but then I just want them to kind of highlight their work from this year, just because so you can see the amazing things that we have happening on our campus in order to meet the needs of all students. So alternate core, what is it? Why alternate core? Alternate core is what most of you would probably consider a resource class for ELA and math. Currently, our second grade group does not have an alternate core for math this year because of the great number of students that needed what we would say a resource setting for first grade. So that's why Christina serves her first grade ELA group and a second grade ELA group. And this year we do not have a second grade math group. So we're hoping to be able to return to that next year. Students in the resource class are students that need tier 2, tier 3 interventions and or may have ESC services noted in an IEP. So you have students that are that already have labels, but then you also have students that are non-disabled just receiving intervention. So it's an inclusive setting to meet the needs of all the students present in the setting. The reason we shifted to this, and Melissa can add in anything because she and I were there together in 17-18. We originally had Susan Lyles working as our MTSS teacher. That role kind of faded out and disappeared. I know some campuses have kind of rearranged some of their special areas in order to keep MTSS teacher. Joyce Bullock opted to try something new, and that is where we are today, trying to serve that role as an intervention teacher, but within a regular classroom setting. Just the least restrictive environment setting, so you're not pushing to a separate classroom, immediately. It's that intervention in between to make sure that students are met where they are, and hopefully just pushed right back to a regular classroom setting. I'm just gonna let them talk because they do all the work and make my job a whole lot easier. I'm super proud of everything that these ladies accomplish on a day in and day out basis. They have served a lot of kids this year. We have had a lot of new friends join us from other districts, and I feel like we've made heads and tails headway for those friends as well. So it doesn't matter what time of the year they come in or when they join us. I feel like they make the best and serve kids no matter where they're at. So we'll start with Diane.
Right. So I'm Diane Dudek, and I teach kindergarten, and I need the next slide, please. So in kindergarten, we started with 15 students, and I'm finishing with 15 students, but there's only 7 original students that have remained. I've moved 9 students back to class, so they were struggling, and we found what worked for them so that they were able to go back to class. I've completed 7 packets, and they've been staffed. That means they have an IEP. I have 4 new students to the school that I had to serve immediately because they came from situations that were pretty significantly off. And they were all 4 of them were 7 years old. I've never had that happen before, and I've taught kindergarten for a while. So something had to be done. I had 3 students, that leads to the next part, that are over 6 years of age. I have 3 with a 504. I have 7 students that were previously retained, and 9 students now currently have IEPs, but I only have 6 of them in my room because the other 3 are out in the main class, and I just kind of monitor with the teachers. And 6 students of those are non-disabled. And then just to kind of give you a visual picture, I included some pictures on the next slide. So on the upper left, I'm holding cards that go with a program called LIPS. And I've had a significant amount of students that had speech issues. So kind of did a little bit of extra work on the sounds and where to put the tongue. We kind of do things in a different way. He's under the table reading in the picture to the right. And then on the far right, we're still doing kindergarten things. You know, we're working on poetry and whatnot. Down at the bottom, I got a program this year called Story Champs, which I think it's a game changer. It's addressed our needs with language. And there's little icon dots and the pictures to go with it. And it's talking about sequence, but also at the same time, you're talking about social issues and problems and how to solve them in a timely, nice manner.
And we purchased that for our entire kindergarten team for next year.
We found, everybody that tried it really liked it. And then on the other right side, I've been working closely with our speech and language therapist, and that is part of an assessment, believe it or not, working with ice cream.
Well, I'm Jennifer Martin. I do part of our first grade. I do reading and math. So I started the year with 15 students. Of those 15, I only have 6 of the original students left. I've added 18 students between my reading and math class. Packets were completed on 11 of the students. 7 of the students have been staffed, and 3 are waiting to be tested or waiting on a meeting date. Of those students that currently serve in the classroom, 9 have previous retentions and 6 have not been retained. So I wanted to just give you a little data of what the class looked like at the beginning of the year compared to what the class looks like now. And I'm just really impressed with how hard the kids have worked and how much growth they've made over the course of this year. So for class averages at the beginning of the year, my class was a level 1 in phonics. Most of the kids came in not either knowing all their ABCs or did not know all their letter sounds. So in December, it went up to level 2, and we're almost to a level 4. We're just a couple points away at a level 3 for the end of the year phonics. Their sight words went from overall 22 words. We're up to 77. I had 6 kids in my class that have learned all 100 sight words that we've assessed this year, and that's huge because most of those didn't even know letter sounds at the beginning of the year. And our fluency increase overall went from 13 to 42 words per minute. So on the next slide, I just wanted to spotlight one of my success stories. So she's a little girl that came to my class. She cried every day. Y'all, when I say she cried, she bawled every day. She hated school. She didn't want to be there. And she came in knowing 3 words a minute, and they were like a, the, and it. When she read a passage, her sight words, she knew 10 of them. We worked really closely with the parents, and they totally bought in to what I was asking them to do with her. She now read all 100 sight words, was a level 4 on her phonics, and she read 69 words per minute on the last oral reading fluency. I also included a little video of her reading for y'all.
Once upon a time, there was there were 2 good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend, the toad, to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down on the porch, but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story.
So we had to do that about 3 times because she was super nervous at the camp. But we got to tell, she was a retention candidate. She's gotten a retention letter every time we've sent retention letters home. At our EP meeting last Friday, we got to tell Mom we were promoting her to second grade.
And then I'm Christina Keene, and this year I was serving both first and second grade ELA groups in the alternate core setting. We started with both groups having 13 students, or 15, excuse me. We have 13 of the original ones that are still in there. They didn't move quite as quickly. However, they made significant gains. And I gave an example on the bottom of a student. He came in, a second grader came in reading 14 words a minute, and he's now reading 105 words with 90% accuracy. So he's made huge gains. He's able to go back in the classroom. He's been very successful. So I'm really proud of what they've done this year. I have some students that are waiting to be staffed. I also have students that have gotten 504 plans this year, and 6 students that are previous retentions. And then on the next slide, I kind of shared, they had set AVID goals, second grade did, and their AVID goals were based on their fluency, so how many words per minute they could read. And all of these second graders met or surpassed their goal and were super proud of themselves. So that is them.
We're also super proud of Christina for taking this on. It's her first year doing the alternate.
Yes,
classroom.
yes. I was just gonna say one more thing. Our goal is to always get kids when we feel like we're at a point where we need to intervene, is to get them in and seeing them quickly. So while they serve a large number of retentions, you also saw that they also have served kids that are not retentions and they're getting ahead. And so like in Cece's case, she was going to be a retention. We intervened and now she's going to second grade. So that's always the goal. And I think the summer program that we're going to have this summer is only going to get us closer to meeting that goal. So I just want to put a plug for that as well.
So what are some of the things you do? I mean, do you just
kind of intensive intervention. So we all have aides in our room. So we're able to work in small groups with the kids, and we start where they are with my aide. She's constantly working where they are, and I'm constantly trying to move them forward at grade level. So we fill in the gaps while we continue to try and move them along in phonics and reading skills. I'm not gonna lie, comprehension in first grade is a big push for me. So sometimes comprehension gets pushed to the side so we can fill in those reading gaps, and we fill in comprehension skills where we can. But it's really intensive. The kids are always learning. There's no downtime. We're constantly moving towards those goals.
So do you sit there and read with them, or are there tools? Like I'm saying, is
They
there a
read
book
to
they
me.
use?
I'm trained in Wilson. I'm trained in Orton Gillingham. I've been doing this for 20 years, so it kind of just comes naturally what they need. We use From Phonics to Reading by 11. I think that's been a game changer this year for them because I utilized in my first grade classroom the kindergarten one to play catch up, working on letter sounds and just building basic words, but we've also used the first grade program to keep moving forward. That puts a book in every kid's hand they can take home and keep with their parents, read to their parents, and other materials like the parents see constantly, and trying to get that parent buy-in makes a huge difference.
Okay, cool. Anybody have any?
I want to know what
All
the
elementary
story
schools have that.
champs are. What is that in kindergarten?
Story champs, I believe,
Dr. All and Marcy,
yeah.
where they got us kits.
Yeah, they had heard of this kit that you could purchase that is like a sequence of cards, and it tells a story. And you have like the character, the setting, it has the problem, it has the feeling, and there's gestures that go with it, like this is character, this is setting. And I have the kids going through that. We retell the story, and then they pair up with a partner, and they have a little card, and there's the little symbol that goes with the gesture. And so if it's setting, it's this plus the picture of the little house. And when their partner retells that part, they get a check on their card. So they pair up. We do that at least once a week, if not more.
Okay.
And it just gives a chance with that oral language and talking, and it's worked out real successfully.
We screened all of pre-K and kindergarten at the beginning of the year. Every school in the district did. And it's quite eye-opening to see the deficiencies that are there coming in. So I think when we reassessed them recently, they've all had a huge gain since, since using the program. And that's why we ended up buying that with our remaining title dollars for every kindergarten teacher for next year.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody have anything else?
I just want to say thank you for coming. You know, I was sitting there a minute ago because we think about great things and stuff, you know, like building skyscrapers and engineers and that you're building kids' minds. I mean, it's not something that you visually see as a structure, but what you're building and the structure for them to, I mean, readings. If I could go back to anything my kids, we would do more reading than we're getting forward, but that foundation's huge. And thank you all for the passion that you have doing it. And Mr. Asbell, there for Wilson.
Thank you very much. Those gains that you all mentioned, I mean, the little ones like that can only comprehend so much and learn so quickly. So those gains are huge, you know, for what the little ones can take in. So that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all. Very good presentation. We now move on to item H, the Jewel presentation. Lindsay Lander, Stephen Marr, Jonathan Kiefer, how you say it? Anyway, I will let our attorney lead this at this point. Introduce these fellow esteemed gentlemen and get it going for us.
Well, I think they all talked to us last time, and I'll certainly let them take the lead on what they would like to present to the board. I'll ask questions about that.
We've all had a chance to review all this. Does anyone have questions?
I want to review and a recap on all of this again. I mean, David had some really good questions last week, and I want to recap, just kind of go over everything again.
Okay. I'll turn it over to these nice folks.
Okay. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, good evening. I appreciate you guys having us here again. As I talked about last time when I was here before you, Gilchrist County has elected to go forward with the Jewel litigation with Mr. Mayor and Mr. Kiefer's firms. We have entered into an agreement with them. I believe I told you guys last time they appeared at a Florida School Board Attorneys Association meeting back in February of last year and presented to us. And we stayed in touch since then. They have made themselves available to us. They have provided us with information. They've provided us with some statistics. They provided us with a video. It kind of went through the Jewel process and what they've done to bring in young people and to basically entice young people to start vaping. I believe that video was shared with the board secretary and presented out to the school board members. And so again, we've moved forward with retaining them in Gilchrist County. And so from my part of it, I'm just making the introduction to the Levy County School Board on behalf of Gilchrist County, who is wholly behind the litigation and who has voted to go ahead with that wholeheartedly and unanimously. And as far as the particulars, I'll let Mr. Mayor take it and go through any questions that you guys may have for them. But, you know, on our end, they've been vetted and they have been very helpful and cooperative with us. And we're moving forward on our end. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mayor. I'm going to mute myself because I think last time that was an issue with a sort of a reverb effect. So I'm going to mute myself and let Mr. Mayor take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Lander. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us again. I was here, I believe, about a month ago, actually a little less than a month ago. I believe it was the 27th for the board meeting. I was with my colleague, John Kiefer. Unfortunately, Mr. Kiefer was not able to make it this evening. In that meeting, we gave our presentation. We basically told you what this case was about. It is a very important case to a lot of people, actually the entire country. All the students, the school boards around the country have a very big problem here, and that problem is student vaping. Back in the 1970s, when I was in high school, late 1970s, I should say, we had a smoking section at our high school. Smoking was very common, it was accepted, and everybody did it. And as a result, there was a lot of human suffering, a lot of disease, a lot of addiction. Fast forward to the 1990s, my firm represented the state of Florida in the tobacco litigation against the tobacco manufacturers. You may remember that. The state of Florida sued Philip Morris and the other tobacco manufacturers on behalf of the money that they paid, the state of Florida citizens paid to for the health medical expenses as a result of smoking related illnesses for Medicaid recipients. And we were able to recover a number of billions of dollars for the state of Florida. Now that money not only reimbursed the state of Florida for the monies that it spent for smoking related illnesses for people that couldn't afford it or didn't have health insurance, but it also was used in order to make a campaign against smoking for to dissuade kids from smoking. And there was all sorts of rules, laws that were passed that would prevent the tobacco manufacturers from advertising to children, which we all know that they did. We all remember Joe Camel. And as a result, we believe over the next ensuing 2 decades, the rate of student smoking tanked dramatically. It went way, way, way down. I've seen it. You don't see kids smoking that much anymore until about 4 years ago. And what happened about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the vapes came on the scene. Juul came on the scene. Juul is a company that made a device that they considered and they marketed to kids as the iPhone of vape devices. You may remember the vape, the electronic cigarettes, the e-cigarettes that they used to be called, were big clunky things, and people would smoke them. But Juul came out with a really cool, small, easily concealed device that was extremely and wildly popular amongst kids. And they hired young influencers, social media influencers, and that video that we sent to you all has got a lot of examples of that. And as a result, the Juul epidemic is just that. It is an epidemic that school districts throughout the country are dealing with. We represent right now in the state of Florida only, we represent 11, or actually 8 districts. We represent Palm Beach County, we represent Gilchrist County with Mr. Lander. We represent Lee County, Hillsborough County, Pinellas, Orange, Brevard, Seminole. I believe that's what we're doing, what we represent in the state of Florida. The group that Mr. Kiefer and I are a part of represent over 100 cases around school districts around the country. We have each of those school districts have their own separate lawsuit. Even though, and this is not a class action, I wanted to just, there's some confusion when we talk about mass torts or litigation involving numerous plaintiffs. This is not a class action. It's kind of similar to a class action, but the difference is that each and every school board has their own case. And each of those cases have been filed in court. And all of those federal court cases, the cases that have been filed in federal court around the country, if you guys get involved, it'll be filed in the Northern District of Florida, the United States District Court for the Northern District of Florida. But all of those cases have been consolidated in front of a federal judge in the United States District Court for the Northern District of California, which is in San Francisco. And that was decided by the federal court system. There is a committee in the federal judiciary called the Joint Panel on Multi-District Litigation, and what they decide is when there is a big case, big meaning there's a number of plaintiffs, that instead of having hundreds of cases filed in hundreds of different courtrooms and courthouses around the country, what they do, since they have very similar issues and liability issues, they consolidate them in front of one particular judge. And that particular judge just happens to be in California, in the Northern District of California, United States District Court. That we have been, the case has been going on for about 1.5 years. My colleague, Mr. Kiefer's firm, and he is from a firm by the name of Wagstaff and Cartmel, and they're out of Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in Winter Park, Florida, Orlando. But John's firm, Mr. Kiefer's firm, has a leadership role in the multi-district litigation in the Northern District of California. They have been, his partner, Tom Cartmel, who I've worked with on numerous cases over the past 20 years around the country, he has been appointed as the lead for the governmental entity plaintiffs of the multi-district litigation. The judge, the federal judge, appointed him that. That is the reason why that's important for you, is because virtually all of the cases, not every case, but most of the cases, actually every single school board case that has been picked to be one of the very first trial cases is represented by our group, by Wagstaff and Cartmel and my firm and a number of others. That's very important when it comes to near the end of the case, where hopefully there will be a settlement, and the people that are in the districts that are involved with the groups that have a leadership position in the multi-district litigation historically have had a better settlement leverage position than folks that are not represented by leadership position members. And so we would be pleased to represent Levy County. I know it's a smaller school district than Palm Beach County, smaller school district than a lot of the other counties, but we do represent a number of small counties. And just because a county is a small county does not mean that it does not have a problem that is commensurate with its size. And I do believe that your county does have a problem with kids juuling. It becomes a problem for the school administration. It becomes a problem for the teachers, and it's expensive. There are costs incurred, as you know, in disciplinary actions, in having vape detectors, having security, having things like that. That is what the purpose of this lawsuit is, to reimburse and recover from Juul the problem, the source of the problem, the monies that you guys have to spend in order to address the problem. And we work on a contingency fee basis. There would be absolutely no expenditures on behalf of your school district. We work on a contingency fee basis. If we do not recover anything for your district, you don't owe us a dime. We will cover all of the costs and advance all of the litigation costs, such as expert witnesses and things like that. For instance, I just want to give you a little idea. I was just in West Palm Beach last week on depositions of our client, the Palm Beach County School District. We have Palm Beach County School District has been picked as one of the very first trial picks for this litigation. It is at the front of the line. We are in the middle of preparing for trial and getting finished with discovery in that case. We have hired a company called Safe Havens, which is a company that is focused on school security. The school shooting down in South Florida, they were involved in that, in determining how schools can be made safer to deal with school shooting. But also, we have hired them in order to make recommendations as to how school districts can be made safer for the vaping problem as well. That can go through, we can do things like, put vape detectors in the bathrooms, more security systems, more cameras, a redesign of bathrooms so that kids don't have a place that they can go in out of supervision and be able to vape. It's quite interesting, but right now we're right in the middle of it. And like I said, I'll answer any questions that you have right now. Unless you have any other questions, I'll stop talking right now. I know time is at a premium and I don't want to take too much of the board's time, but thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a couple questions, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayor, last time Mr. Kiefer presented and some of the things that you reiterated tonight, what you call trial cases, is that what he referred to as the bellwether cases and then the non-bellwether? Because he said that our county would be considered the non-bellwether. So I was thinking in researching a lot of this, if the bellwether trials get turned down, excuse me if I'm not using the correct verbiage, what does that do for us if we're the non-bellwether cases? Does that stop all litigation at that point?
No, it doesn't. It can if the board wants it to stop, but it does not stop all litigation. What happens is typically in these multi-district litigations, the judge that is set, that has all of the cases consolidated in front of the judge, will try several of the cases, him or herself. And those are called bellwether cases because they are done in order to give both sides, the plaintiffs and the defendants, an idea of what a jury might do for the rest of the cases, the non-bellwether cases. And so what usually happens is the main judge, the MDL, multi-district litigation judge, tries a few of the bellwether trials to give the parties an idea of what's staring down the pike at them. And then after those few bellwether trials are tried, whether they are a win for the plaintiff or a loss for the plaintiff, what happens at that point is the judge will remand or send the cases back from California to where they came from. For instance, your case would be transferred to California, and then it would be remanded back to the United States District Court for the Northern District of Florida for trial. Okay, if the first few bellwether trials turned out to be a defense verdict, a verdict in favor of Jewel, you would have the opportunity to try your case sometime in the future. But that is not something that would happen anywhere in the foreseeable future. We're looking a long way down the pike, because at that point, Jewel will have hundreds of these cases to deal with in hundreds of different districts. So just because a bellwether trial is successful or unsuccessful does not mean that your case will be successful or unsuccessful.
Okay. I thought when I was reading, if we do sign the contract, that would kind of make us void to go personally after, filing another lawsuit.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
You would have your lawsuit. Your lawsuit would stay and not be affected by what happens with the bellwether trials that actually go to trial before you. Each district has its own trial if they want it. What normally happens, and I've been doing these multi-district litigations for a long time, what normally happens is when the bellwether trial process happens, and a few of these bellwether trials happen, a lot of the time, and I'm not guaranteeing that this will happen here because I can't, but what I have in my experience, what happens is there's usually a settlement with everyone. Now, you would have your own case and you would be offered a settlement if that happened. If you were offered a settlement, you would have the right, the board, because you would be the plaintiffs, would have the sole decision to make whether to accept that settlement offer or not. But just because something happens with a bellwether trial does not affect your case. However, if we were to try the Palm Beach County case, or we try, the San Francisco Unified School District case, which is also one of the bellwether trials, and we got a good verdict, that would be a good thing for you as far as settlement leverage.
And if we went out on our own and did get a settlement, this contract, we would still have to pay out of that settlement costs, fees to the attorney.
Okay, so what I may have misunderstood, and I apologize. We would continue representing you no matter what happened with these bellwether trials. We would continue representing you. And it's not that once these bellwether trials are done, we don't represent you anymore. We would continue to represent you and continue to negotiate with you, or on your behalf with Jewel. Are you asking whether I guess I'm just a little unclear.
If I'm understanding your question, this lawsuit, this contract would be the vehicle for pursuing a claim against Jewel. There would not be another avenue.
It's only here.
Yes.
Correct. It was part of it. But upon researching it, if you lose this, you have no retribution anywhere else to do anything again.
Right. This is your one shot.
Right.
Exactly.
The plaintiff fact sheet that Mr. Kiefer spoke of, I'm not for vaping. I think it is a huge problem. I think these kids are doing a lot more than that nicotine in it. I know we haven't, as a district, put vape protectors or detectors in the bathrooms, and we didn't have expenditures that way. I don't think we hired any extra SRO. It's kind of like a two-part question. I'm thinking of the manpower that someone out here at our district has to do to fill out that plaintiff fact sheet and how long that will take. Because to me, that's dollars, that's hours from an employee and maybe putting something else on their plate. So I look at that fact, and how do you claim damages? You said you're trying to get the monies back that districts have spent already, whereas we're not one of those districts that has put that money out. So how do you claim that we have any damages? I mean, we can't say that, obviously it hurts the students, but
Sure.
how do you prove that damage?
Great question. And this is something that we do get asked a lot. And it's not just because you haven't done it in the past does not mean you do not have a claim. Okay. There are a lot of our clients that really haven't put vape detectors in. They haven't hired any more SROs. They haven't done it, but that's not to say that they won't have to do that in the future or won't choose to do that in the future or won't want to have the opportunity to do that in the future. That's my answer for that is I wouldn't worry about that part of it. That does not bother us. And it's not only in the past, it's in the future, and perhaps more so in the future because it is becoming a real problem now. With regard to the first part of your question about the plaintiff's fact sheet and the man and woman hours that it would take to do that. Hey, I get it. That is something that you all are going to need to make a determination as to whether it is going to be worth your while to do that. I do want to say though, being a non-bellwether case, if you were a bellwether case like Palm Beach County, we're having to do depositions. They're spending a ton of time on this case. They are putting a huge amount of resources into it, and they feel very strongly about it, and they want to, and they've chosen to go that route. But I do understand that it will take some effort on your behalf to help us answer those fact sheets. It's not that we're just going to give you this thing and say, hey, fill it out. We will be there to help, and we will be there to assist in all we can. And we are very mindful of the fact that it is money. The fact that time is money, and for you to assign someone to put some time into this is going to cost, and we want to make that burden on your district and on your staff and the administration as light as possible. The fact that you are not a bellwether district at this time is actually a good thing, because you probably, at least in the foreseeable future, there will be no depositions or anything like that. It'll just basically get this fact sheet with our assistance filled out and then see what happens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no more questions.
Yes, so is this something that we don't have to do this right now, tonight? It's something that we can do a little later?
Absolutely. I mean, if you're asking me with regard to the lawsuit, we don't expect an answer tonight unless you all want to get one.
Right. And then also, if awarded the money, the percentage that, Levy County would receive versus those large districts, can you give me any kind of idea?
Sure. Well, obviously, the larger districts with the larger school enrollment, they will get more, obviously, and it will probably, and I don't know what the settlement will be, if there is one, but it will be based largely on the number of students and the size of the district. And the money that you guys get from that is going to be yours to spend however it is that you want. Look, you know, I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was worth my time to do it. And I think it is. And I just think it's a decision that you guys are going to have to make on that. I can't tell you how much it's going to be, but you know, it's a situation where, you know, we're just going to have to wait and see. And we're willing to take the risk and do what's necessary and represent you guys as well as other small school districts as well. So if that says anything, I mean, that's, you know, I think that kind of shows you where we're at. I think it's worth it, but you guys need to make that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I always like to talk about the end at the beginning, of course, when you're doing the marriage. But as I read this, and it's pretty simply done, that this is all on you, all costs incurred until the end. It's a 25% of the net earnings at the end will be your alls, and 75% of that will be ours.
Yeah.
Okay. So how?
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes, sir.
It is 25% of the gross. And if we have money, like if you got X amount of dollars awarded to you, or you accepted a settlement amount, we would get 25% of that. The money, and there's also going to be litigation costs, such as expert witnesses and things like that. Obviously, if you go to trial, the costs are a lot more than if you just settle before trial. But we would want to get reimbursed the money that we spent for that, as well as our fees. And if there is no recovery, not only do we not get paid our fees, we lose. We're not coming back to you and asking you for the money that we have spent out of our pocket for the litigation costs.
Right, so that's where I was leading up to. Are those fees advertised in front of, and this part of I'm having a little hard time, I don't want to get way off in the weeds, but our lawsuit is our individual lawsuit. So when you just had a bellwether case, the South Florida case is going to have a lot more input into those cases, and ours having very little, so our cost should be less in our case, right? Or are we gonna bleed all the cost of all of them down into each individual case?
No, it's going to be based on a pro rata. I mean, you're not going to be spending what Palm Beach County is going to be spending on that. There's just that doesn't make any. That wouldn't make any sense.
Anything else? Okay. Does the board wish to do anything at this time?
I don't want to do anything this time.
I do not want to do anything, Mr. Chairman.
No, I'd like to look further, spend some more time on before we make that decision.
All right.
I do appreciate the answer.
Yes,
thank you.
We will revisit this at a later time. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
Has everyone had a chance to read over the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Are there any changes to the minutes?
Yes, sir. On the first page, under school presentation, Cedar Key Workforce Education, I'm just going to add Rachel Weatherington for the SALT program. I wrote it in your books.
Yes. All right. I will accept the motion to approve the minutes as correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move into our consent agenda and the addition to. I'll start with Mr. Etheridge. Do you have any questions?
The question's been answered. I just, it's that time of year, I guess, where people are making moves. We see resignations and some of those for deserving reasons, and others I'm not sure of. And I'm sure we'll find out at later dates of some of those where they land at. But it'll be just like every summer, the work begins of restaffing and finding new people. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Brookins.
Yes, it is going to be a busy summer, and Mr. Cowart has answered my questions, and I appreciate that. So I have no questions at this time on our consent agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Boyle.
I have no questions on the consent agenda. I met with Mr. Howard earlier and he answered all those. Looking forward to the summer program because just the presentation from Joyce Bullock was excellent. And I really feel that the summer programs that we're putting in place are really going to help our students and they really, really need it. So I'm looking forward to the summer program and being down in Cedar Key and helping those teachers out that will be there.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? I have two things that I would like to bring up. One, we are looking at all my questions have been answered. This is just a thing. I think this is a good thing we do. The contract between us and the University of Florida for the on-site trainers, the people there. And John's been there. We've seen it actually. It paid off. There's a kid in Franklin County still walking today because we had sense enough to do that. And I think that's an excellent thing. The other thing I have is in August of 1974, a chubby boy from Bronson entered kindergarten at Bronson. And at about 10:30 that morning, he met a woman named Kathy Michael, and she kicked the kickball further than he had ever seen anybody do it. 47 years later, she is retiring. And because of this, and because of my being so impressed with her kicking the kickball, I checked into that. She can still kick a kickball further than anybody I know. And it is with great pride that I see her reach the point of retirement. It's also very upsetting to know that we're old enough and to been there. I was in the first class that she had. And it's kind of sad that she won't be there. She taught me and my 3 children, and it's kind of cool. And I will miss her. And I think she deserves a great retirement. And I'm proud of her. Proud to call her my friend. Proud to call her my PE teacher. If she wrote a book, it would be interesting. So with no further ado, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Any further comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Mr. Superintendent, your comments and recommendations.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, thank you. As we know, this is the time of year where we get to celebrate student achievement. We have athletic banquets, we have FFA banquets, we have academic awards banquets. I know, not to steal your thunder, but I know that we have a new thing coming to Bronson Middle High School. And we'll touch on that during time, so whenever it's time for your closing comments. But with that, it always amazes me how well represented our students on the FFA side, how they're finalists, top 4 for the Discovery, Green Hand, all these different things, the different SAE projects that go through, and the hard work and the many hours outside of the normal school day, the 8 to 5 that go into those. So I really, really appreciate the efforts of our ag teachers. We know that we do have our district teacher of the year, Ms. Marcia Smith, who's retiring. So just really wanted to mention her as we're coming off Teacher Appreciation Week. 2 other people that I kind of like to talk about, so if you just will bear with me. Last week, I thought it was fitting also that he retired. Kelly Beckham retired. Kelly Beckham served as Bronson Middle High School basketball coach for a number of years, and after 39 years of teaching and coaching, 798 wins, he hung up his whistle. And grew up in Cedar Key, coached in Cedar Key a little bit, coached in Bronson, coached in GHS. So 2 state runner-up at Bronson, and finally was able to get a state championship at GHS. Just would like to tip my cap to him. So I owe an awful lot to where I am as a person because of Kelly Beckham. And so that's the end of the spectrum with you seeing Kathy Michael at 47 years, Kelly at 39. Yesterday, had the opportunity to participate in junior officers for Williston Middle High School FFA. Callie Robinson is coming into that program. She's a first-year teacher this year and is coming in. I just really want to, it's so amazing and it's so refreshing to see the joy and the excitement of somebody and how they can see kids who have never been in FFA, but they're in her FFA class, and she's got them interviewing for officer position. They don't even have FFA jackets yet, no official dress, but kids cultivating confidence and leadership. And that's what's so astounding to me. So kudos to her for her efforts. And then the last two things, we had one of our families pass away, Mr. Connie James, sub-bus driver, drove many a baseball team, a softball team, basketball team, whatever, Williston, and just was always willing to step up. So very well respected. So just keep their families in your thoughts and prayers. So as they get ready to have his funeral. So we had Evening of Excellence, and I think this is pretty fitting. We celebrated a teacher with 47 years, Miss Kathy Michael, an employee with 45 years, a 38, a 37, a 35. We've got great people that work for us, and just very, very appreciative of them. So, and with that, I thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Y'all wants to go first with your comments. We'll let Brad go first.
Mine will be fairly quick. This is the time of year I enjoy. And I've said this, I think, at every school board meeting, and I'm not mainly about air conditioning going in the gym, but Johnson, our chief of high school, to make sure that's going to happen. But I had an opportunity to fly from Gainesville to Amarillo, Texas last week and drive all the way back across this weekend. It's good to be from Levy County.
Amen.
It's good to be from Levy County. I'm going to tell you, if you haven't been outside of it, seen the world, besides Gainesville, there's still a lot of, we live in a really good place. And it was good to be back home. I can promise you that. Last Monday night, the Evening of Excellence, and I always look forward to that because that's the, I don't say we honor the people who we've awarded with that. There's plenty behind those people that deserve awards, you know, but I got to look another night on stage, and there's 3 ladies at Williston Middle High School, and between the 3 of them, they have 116 years and 3 people, and they all work in the front office of Williston Middle High School. Dee Dee McLeod, Miss Joyce Wetzel, and Miss Sandra Wise. And I think about that. I think one of the oldest, the 42 years, I think Miss Wetzel, she was at the middle school when I was there, which is, you know, just 10 or 15 years ago. But think about the institutional knowledge that we have within our schools and the longevity. And I hope that what we did the other night will foster some of our younger people that are part of our system to understand that there's a long, good career here to stick with us. And because it always sickens me to watch these resignations at the end of the year, and let's have to reboot and restart coming into next year. So I enjoyed it. There's a game going on, I guess, now. Unfortunately, we had a neighboring county of Alachua County that we had to play tonight, and not everybody's going to get. But Mr. Coward, I want to say I want to appreciate all the work that you did to try to make it open enough where as many people could go watch the game as possible. I wish we could have got it moved into Levy County, where we enjoy the open air sunshine, and all could have attended to watch the game if we wanted to.
Go Big Red.
Amen. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just going to follow up. The Evening of Excellence was great the other night, and I really appreciated doing both years, this year and last year too, and honoring. Because it was sad to have to miss last year and not get to honor those teachers. So that was very nice. Once again, I'm going to brag on the progress of the new school and how well they're doing. And they work on Saturdays. They work so hard, and it's just moving along. And teachers are getting ready to move, classrooms and move equipment and build, and it's amazing all the time. Just even riding by, but stopping, it changes all the time. So it is a real exciting time, parents and students, and they're getting excited, and with the graduation and graduation parties, and we're excited for them all and everybody's students and board members and superintendent that kids are graduating. I think it's wonderful. So it's going to be really nice. All I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Boyle.
I think the presentation again from Joyce Bullock was excellent. And Cedar Key is just hunkering down right now, testing, as is every other school. Looking forward to graduation. And if my fellow board members would humor my appearance at the graduations as a new school board member, I'd like to attend the graduations and just get to meet more people and at the different schools and see the kids and hear what they've done. So if you don't mind me showing up too, I appreciate that. And I think that's really it. The Hero Day, the cafeteria workers down there in Cedar Key, and met those ladies and spent some time with them, and we had fun. They didn't take a picture of me in a hairnet and apron, so that was good. But they worked very hard, and it was nice to spend some time with them. And I was just kind of thinking while I was there, how the teachers and the staff and the food service, do we have a separate day where we did custodial and kind of recognized all the hard work that's behind the scenes after everybody goes home? Might be.
We'll check into it. I know that Miss Marla keeps me up to date, so where we've had maintenance day, but I'll make sure to figure out what day those are, so.
It'd be nice to recognize them too.
So I know a lot of times it may be teacher appreciation, but we really celebrate the whole staff.
Right.
And I think
Right.
especially, I remember years past at Cedar Key, so that everybody comes together, so
Thank you.
we're all one family and we all have a role to play. And if we aren't all pulling our own weight, so we can't be, our kids can't be successful, so.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, ma'am. It is the good time of year. Some of us it's better than others. Bronson's doing something a little bit new and unique this year. We're having a senior signing day. And this is not kids that are going to go play football for some little school out west or play basketball or play whatever. These are academic kids, and these are kids that have decided to join the military or go into a vocational study that are stepping up to another game, and they deserve recognition also. And this is a new thing at Bronson. And it's really going to be kind of cool. That will be tomorrow at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're more than welcome to come see that. I'll be there, but not as a school board member. I will be there there's a lot of things I'm doing right now that school board members kind of taking second place to a lot of stuff going on in my life right now. It's a little hectic right now. We will have the senior signing day, and then a couple of days later we have a senior lunch that we are putting on, and then the FFA banquet, then the senior awards night, and baccalaureate, just to head into graduation ceremony. And I would personally like to invite you to come see how it's done right at Bronson Middle High School graduation. I noticed on the list that Miss Brookings wants to come see it too. It will be explosive, is all I have to say. So good times having by all, and it's great that we're at this point of the year. It really is, and I think I said it last time that you go around, you look at things. A lot of school districts ain't doing it as good as Levy County does.
That's right.
I'm proud of what we've done here and what everybody's done here. If there is nothing else to be brought forward, you always have something.
There is one thing, so I'll be remiss without pointing out. So Miss Chloe Hunt has served us very, very well, and she has chosen to do the ultimate job, and that's to be a mother to her child. So I should have made a point to point her out there, so I realized that. So I sure appreciate all she's done. So she's served our district very, very well for numerous years. So, and also as a point of privilege, so we had 4 students that finished a welding certification. So between now and the last board meeting, and that was Avi Bishop in Williston, Nathan Jordan at Chiefland Middle High School, John Pelham in Cedar Key, and one that I know really well, my son Justin Gibb. So.
I didn't know we were bragging about our sons, Mr. Coward.
Or Justin, he is. And our ball game is in black and white.
Since we're going to brag about sons, and I have to outdo it, There is, Bronson this year entered a pilot program through the University of Florida with the water treatment and wastewater management. Very hard stuff, and there was only one child in the entire state of Florida that passed the wastewater management course and received his certification. That's my son, Hayden Asbell. And so, anybody's got any jobs available for people with those certifications, he will be seeking good employment. But I saw a hand over here. The press is with us tonight. Yes, sir.
Does the Lee County School District have a problem with student leaving?
I believe we're digging into it, so I think we are seeing a rise in discipline with it, and it's filtering even into our elementary schools. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very much. Anything else?
Is it a big problem or just something you're just discovering now?
It's a nationwide problem.
I think it's like what the man said. It's an epidemic. It's a product that was geared straight towards children.
Yeah.
Just watch advertisement, watch the flavorings, watch what they did. It's not geared to you. You're not their target audience. I don't think you can single it out as a Levy County problem. It's a nationwide problem that affects children. And it's just not, it's a bad thing. And it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. I think that's Cameron Asbell's opinion, not necessarily a board opinion.
It's very easily accessible. Unfortunately, our students can walk into many stores and buy it straight off. So it is illegal, yes, sir. So that doesn't mean it's just like.
Doesn't mean it don't happen.
Doesn't happen. So there is an issue where we have stores that do not card people, do not check. So, and that's how our kids are being able to access some of this. So I'm sure some of it also is just swiped from a parent too. So I won't throw our stores totally under the bus. So, but I know there is an issue that we're trying to work with law enforcement to help correct this.
So you have a rule about participating in this lawsuit, so you want to study it for a while?
I need to study it some more.
I got to study.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
I think it's appropriate with Ms. Clemency not being here so that we have the full board to make a decision. So, but we just wanted to have the opportunity for them to ask questions and see if we wanted to move forward. So, pleasure.
All right, nothing else. Meeting adjourned.